Welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast, broadcasting from deep within the Outer Rim, far beyond the watchful eyes of the Empire and on the fringes with the New Republic. Join your hosts Garrett K. Jones, Brian Karasik, and John Mark Tolley as they discuss the various facets of the saga's lore and characters, review the films, and discuss every tidbit of news coming out of Lucasfilm. Remember, this isn't just your Star Wars, this isn't just my Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. This is the way.
This is indeed the way. Welcome,
nice
of course. Yeah, indeed. Welcome,
So
everybody.
your audio recording, Brian. That way we can have the third one up and running.
I got that. I can do this.
Yeah.
Same script or different words?
It's different wording. I sent it to you before, but I'll have to resend it to you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'll get caught up.
No worries. We've got time.
Well, welcome everyone to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. And the gang's all here. Everyone. Last week, I had to record a little bit earlier, and Brian was not able to join us, but he is back, and it is good to see both you guys once again talking Star Wars.
Wouldn't have missed tonight's episode to say it for anything.
I know, this is your topic.
Yes, indeed. So, Garrett, or Brian, why don't you tell us what we're going to be talking about today and who we're going to be talking about?
Tonight, we will be discussing Doctor Aphra, otherwise known as Lona Aphra, in my opinion, one of the most interesting characters to come out of the new Disney canon.
Mm-hmm. I think we should title this Paging Doctor Aphra.
Ooh. I like that. I really like that because that's way better, way more clever than what I had originally put on the thumbnail. I put hot doc. So
You're both right.
It's accurate, but it's not as clever.
Yes.
My camera's gone blurry, but there we go.
There we go. All right.
So I have a passing knowledge of Dr. Aphra. I've read some of the comics. It's been a while since I've read any of the Dr. Aphra comics. So, Brian, why don't you give us like a synopsis of who Dr. Aphra is?
Okay. Dr. Aphra was born in 24 years before the Battle of Yavin. She was the daughter of academics, but her father sort of neglected his family in pursuit of his studies. So the mother took her off planet, which resulted in the mother's death in a raid of some sort. I'll leave that to the reader to follow up. She was captured by the Empire as a juvenile and brought back to her father, set her father's house on fire in protest, and departed. I think the coolest thing about her is she just starts off amoral and brilliant. Dr. Aphra is what you would get if Lara Croft and Indiana Jones and Han Solo all collectively had a child. And then that child became an arms dealer who worked for Darth Vader. She got her doctorate. I love this story. She got her doctorate by, she had a professor who was stonewalling her basically and just wasn't going to let her get anywhere. And she discovered that he had some illegal mind controlling parasites in his office, which she stole and planted at a dig site and then discovered them. He was the only one who knew where those things came from, but he would have been placed in prison if he admitted that he knew where they came from because he wasn't supposed to have them. And so he couldn't protest how she got them. And so she got credit for the discovery and became a doctor. That's where she got that from. We know some of Dr. Aphra's side buddies. She sort of forms almost a dark mirror of the original trilogy's main characters. If she is Han Solo, then the equivalent of Chewbacca would be Black Krrsantan. This is the Wookiee bounty hunter that we meet in Book of Boba Fett. I think it's unforgivable that we meet Black Krrsantan and not Dr. Aphra on screen. I really hope that they put her on screen sometime in the near future. So close. She also has a pair of droids 000 is, there we are, the picture of the droids. 000 is the protocol droid, and BT1 is the astromech there. The difference being that 000 is a torturer droid in a C3 chassis. He makes light of it at one point. He pretends to be C3PO in a dusty storm environment where you can't see him well, so he can clearly impersonate the voice. Leia meets him and calls him Creepio, which is awesome. Great moment for 000. Aphra discovers BT1. BT1 is a relic of the Tarkin Initiative, and she needs access to one particular programming code language that to reactivate BT1, and she needs 000 for it. So she locates the 000 personality chip, installs it in this droid, and activates it. And sort of IG-88-ish for Legends readers, when IG-88 was initially activated, he killed everybody in sight. Both of these droids follow that same protocol. First off, when she turns on 000, he introduces himself to her by saying, "I'm 000, human cyborg relations. Pleased to make your acquaintance," and extends his hand as if to shake it. She goes through the word code that identifies her as his master, and he says, "Best not shake hands then, as a lethal shock might result." So his first reaction is, let me just greet the first living thing I see in a friendly manner and then kill it. Similarly, when we see BT1 activated, he's on a remote space station, and he's activated, kills everyone in the space station, and then blows up the space station, and then is just floating in deep space and shuts down. All right, wake me up when there's somebody else to kill. It's a great pair. I don't want to go too much into them, but I will say that I've always liked how astromechs kind of have this magical ability to produce any tool they need, right? No matter what they need, they've got it inside their chassis. BT1 is like that, except with weapons. There's more than one time in the comics where BT1 is allowed to open up. And it's like when the Mask pulls all those guns out of his pockets. It's very similar, except a droid. He's, missile launchers. He makes missiles inside his body. He's got arms factory going on in there. But he specifically mentions BT1 will need a few minutes to make more rockets.
What I think is interesting is I kind of wanted to see who would be the more insane droid between these two and Chopper, because Chopper is already kind of unhinged.
I think they'd get along. I think they definitely get along. Throw in HK-47 or maybe Mr. Bones in there. I think we've got a party going. Yeah. But to step away from the droids there, Dr. Aphra is kind of a Batman Gambit character. She's always got a back door. She's always got, a way out of something. In particular, she's working for Vader for a while. We first meet her in the Vader comic books. And she mentions a number of times that nobody who works for Vader lives long. They're rich and powerful while they're working for him, but it's not a job with a lot of life expectancy. And she, in a moment of weakness, confesses to Vader that she's always been terrified of dying in space. It's her greatest fear. She's just suffocating and being cold and alone, and she just can't stand it. And she just begs him, when you need to kill me, and I know you will, just please, just don't do that. Well, of course, at some point, Vader becomes disappointed with her, and what's he do? He blows out an airlock, of course, because she says it's her greatest fear. At which point, an internal beacon that she had in her body activates and triggers Black Chrysanthemum to come rescue her. So she already had this planned out. She's got this built-in internal system for
this fail-safe.
Right, if I'm ever stranded in deep space, Black Chrysanthemum can get to me within 30 seconds. And that's exactly what happens. She's just such a great, rich character. She also has shades of John Constantine, if anybody read the Hellblazer comic. Yeah. In that, she thinks she means well, but she leaves a trail of bodies behind her. Mm-hmm. Everyone she interacts with ends up worse off or dead, or worse off and then dead. It just goes back for miles. She is notably a bisexual character. We don't see her romantically involved with any men, but I believe she's open to the idea. But we do see her romantically attached to Sana Starros, who in the Disney canon was for a brief time married to Han Solo. It was a sham wedding. It was for money, a business proposition. But anyway, Sana Starros was involved with with Aphra, and she also was involved with an Imperial intelligence agent, which was just a really, really cool moment. And she's just a great character. She's got cool cybernetic tattoos on her arm. She's beautifully done. If you folks listening at home, if you have not read, if you don't know who Doctor Aphra is, you need to go get the Vader comic books, get the Marvel app or whatever on your phone to read Marvel comics. Read every episode of Doctor Aphra. You will not be disappointed. It's all action, subterfuge, intrigue, and at one point she betrays Vader, or she goes to the Emperor to tell the Emperor that Vader's been working against him in some way or betraying him, and the Emperor is pleased that Vader's doing this because that's a good Sith, good boy. You should be trying to turn on me, and he's also pleased with the ruthlessness of Doctor Aphra. So he promotes Aphra to an intelligence officer of the Empire and rewards Vader. So like the both of them are now peers, essentially. Maybe not peers, Vader. But anyway, just I could go on and on. There's dozens of trade paperback books out there. Maybe not quite dozens, but worth a read. Go get it.
My question is, like, how would you describe? I mean, you've already described Dr. Aphra, but when it comes, she's definitely not a hero. But I wouldn't call her an anti-hero either. But she's not really a villain, even though she works almost exclusively with villains. She seems to be in this kind of gray area where, like you said, she seems to be well-meaning, but yet, I mean, the time that she works so much with Vader. I mean, how would you kind of describe her as like that? Like as far as a character,
you're right. She's not an anti-hero.
But she's not a villain either.
No, she doesn't fit the archetype well because she does mean well, but her business is primarily archaeological weapons dealing. Like more than once, we see her selling some hugely powerful thing that's thousands of years old. And you guys know that's a trope in Star Wars, of course. It's like they never introduce new technology. It's always like, some ancient Sith relic that's been unearthed, or some ancient Jedi technique, or like even the three-bladed lightsaber. Kylo Ren introduced this new weapon, and we found out, it's a 1,000-year-old tradition that he's just revived. But being an arms dealer selling weapons to criminals, that's where the money is. Mm-hmm. And so while it's I would call her a hero because she's the hero of her own story. And largely the people that suffer as a result of interacting with her are people who deserved it or who were trying to kill her in as well. She does notably interact with a few people and ruin their lives. And they had did not have it coming to them, had nothing to do with any, just sort of in passing, just a minor brush with Shelley Aphra and your whole life is destroyed. Yeah. And it's what's interesting is that she really feels that loss, like she feels the guilt of it. But money's money. It is what it is. And if I didn't do that, they would, someone was going to get me. So that she sort of functions in this perpetual, the universe is out to get me cycle, in that the universe is out to get her. And so she treats the universe in that way. And so the universe continues to be out to get her. There's no, it's just a cycle of, I'm going to screw you before you screw me. Mm-hmm. And then other people do the same thing. Like, well, we got to screw her before she screws us.
It's almost like her biggest antagonist isn't any of the characters. Her biggest antagonist is the Force itself.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to put it.
Because while we talked about conflict briefly last week, where we were talking about character versus society or whatever, but like this is character versus the universe, character versus the supernatural, and while she does come in conflict with other characters, whether it's Vader or Palpatine or whoever's on the Rebel Alliance, like ultimately, like she is creating this massive imbalance within the galaxy, and the Force is trying to constantly correct this.
Yeah.
I will say that one of my favorite. Did you read the Marvel Princess Leia book?
Yes.
Where she and Doctor Aphra have a run-in. That's where the whole Creepio comment comes from, and they're on that prison world, and the things are just going to hell in a handbasket, like all around them. And Aphra's not really helping, but she's trying to help, and it's creating all sorts of chaos. That was probably one of my favorite interactions.
At one point, she captures Hera Syndulla and sells her, and she leaves Hera in an Imperial officer's office, tied up with a big bow on her, like a big
yes,
wrap bow. It's interesting to see her brush up against what we think of as the main characters. Always, she has at one point she and Luke Skywalker kind of team up. I think that she's an interesting character because she's a slicer. We see a lot of smugglers, we see pilots, we see lightsaber duelists, we see all these martial combatants who are great at what they do. She hacks into a combat droid while it is, there it is. She hacks into a combat droid's programming while it is actively fighting her. Like she jumps on its back and hacks into it and reprograms it on the fly. And I like that aspect of a character where it's not something that it seems like we meet a lot of the best pilot in the galaxy. We meet a lot of the best duelist in the galaxy. We don't see we meet the best hacker. And she's definitely that. So while she blackmailed her way into her doctorate, she's a brilliant character. But I think it's interesting to see a character who is, as I've said before, the not the villain of their own story. Nobody sees themselves as the bad guy, realistically. And she is legitimately just trying to get by. And she's had childhood trauma. Her mother killed, her father distant, and she lives in the Empire. Like she came of age shortly after the Empire dawned. And that's a real bad time to be someone living on the fringes of anything. So it's just interesting to see how she does the best she can, which is a lot. And it's hard to overstate just the constant tightrope she's always walking between disaster and fortune.
If she was the D&D character, she'd be chaotic neutral.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I almost want to say I think she'd
work with anyone. She's willing.
She'd be lawful chaotic.
She'd be a lawful chaotic artificer.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, my question to you is, Brian, who would you like? This is one of those things where I want to talk about fan casting because, like, there's so many different ideas that we could do for the kind of character that she is. Because, like, who are your top actresses that you would want to have cast in that role if they brought her to live action?
So this is tricky. Aphra is consistently drawn as having Asian features.
Right.
And who would I cast?
She's got a petite frame, but she's got those really large, very expressive eyes.
Kimiko Miyashiro, who we know as the Kimiko Miyashiro, I think is how it's pronounced. She is the Asian assassin soup in The Boys.
Oh, okay. I think I know who you're talking. Yeah. Here we go. Hold on. Let me bring it up on screen. Yeah, the actress's name is Karen Fukuhara.
Wait. Oh, sorry.
I can see it.
Yeah. I think I gave the character name, not the actor name.
Yeah, I was able to find it. Yeah, I think she would be good. She's got the right build for it, and she can do some action because, like, aside from what she's done on The Boys, she played Katana in the first Suicide Squad movie 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
and she's got a pretty good physical presence. She can do a lot of different roles. And did you ever see Bullet Train?
Yes.
Yeah, she played the snack attendant on the Bullet Train.
Oh, cool! I didn't recall.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And it was like a small part. She only has a couple of lines, and they're all in Japanese. But it's like she's like her entire attitude throughout the whole thing. Like she comes on the scene where Brad Pitt and Aaron Taylor Johnson are fighting in the cafeteria car, and she's just like very polite, just letting everything happen. She charges them, a bunch of money for a bottle of fizzy water, and then she walks off.
I think while we're fan casting, I would love it if they cast Anthony Daniels to voice act 000.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
I know an amazing. I know a father whose daughter does an amazing 000 cosplay. 000 is just C-3PO in black chrome with red eyes. Which I saw a really funny meme the other day. Said, remember, behind every evil robot is an engineer who installed red LEDs in their eyes just in case they became evil. But
who else do you think would be a good fan cast?
There's a Michelle. A lot of people say Karen Fukuhara is. I'm looking at a list here. Karen Fukuhara is at the top of the Reddit section. I gotta stick with Karen. I think she'd be the best. I wouldn't want to whitewash the character by casting a Caucasian actress, just because the artist, the character designer, made a very clear choice to write and draw her. I mean, it's not like she acts Asian, but like she is an Asian character. We meet her father; he's just as Asian. Like it's a clear portrayal, which raises the question.
What about Jessica Henwick?
I've seen her mentioned a lot. I don't know her work, honestly.
She had a couple of episodes. She was in Iron Fist. She had a couple of episodes of Game of Thrones where she was one of the Sand Snakes. And then she was in Glass Onion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And she was in. There was another movie she was in for Netflix with. It was. Oh, crud! I can't remember what it was. She was in that. She was in Matrix Resurrections. She was in Underwater. Oh, The Gray Man. With Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling.
Huh.
She's done a lot of stuff, and although she did have
any of those things, I saw her in Game of Thrones. Is really the only thing.
She was in The Force Awakens.
I'm sure she's a fine actress, and I would not object to it. But I don't know what to say. I got to stick with Fukuhara.
That's it. That's fair. That's fair.
That was one of the names I looked it up. Another one name that was mentioned. I looked this up for possible fan cast. Chloe Bennett. She was in Agents of Shield, and Constance Wu from Crazy Rich Asians, and another one was Emily Wu Zeller, who did the voice of Doctor Aphra in the Star Wars audiobooks.
Oh,
I would go for that.
I'm not quite the Asian look.
Mark,
what's that?
I have that.
What did you say that actress's name was?
Emily Wu Zeller.
Emily Wu.
She's mostly known, looks like, for audio, for doing voice acting.
Yeah.
But that hasn't stopped. She doesn't quite have the Asian, as much of the Asian features.
I thought her name was spelled with a U. Yeah, that's less Chinese than I thought.
Emily Wu.
Wu, W-O-O. Sure. I love her work in that audiobook. I didn't know the name, but I'd go for it.
Yeah.
I always love an audiobook narrator. I think I've mentioned this on the show, but Darth Plagueis is read by Niles the Butler from The Nanny, and that will just never not be funny to me.
Dude, that guy is awesome.
He's not British.
I know.
His voice acting is so British.
I know. Well, I mean, that was one of the things that I thought was very funny about him is that he isn't British, but he's played a British butler. He has played Moriarty on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh, right.
Oh, that.
And he played an aircraft carrier commander in Hunt for Red October.
Huh. Been too long since
He was the XO when they bring Jack Ryan out to the carrier, and they have Fred Dalton as the captain, as the skipper, and Niles is the XO, and he actually gets pissed that Jack Ryan is wearing a commander's uniform.
Which, you know who would be funny to cast as Dr. Aphra is Ming-Na Wen.
Dude.
Just like she just started the camera. Dr. Aphra would be a good candidate for a Deadpool style fourth wall breaking character. And just like turn around and look at the camera like, that's right, it's me again. And then, I mean, there's every opportunity for Aphra to meet Fennec Shan too. That would be great.
Dude,
we gotta pour one out for a minute for Ming-Na. What franchise is she not in? She's Mulan.
Yeah.
She's Fennec Shand. She's in Star Trek, I think.
No, she was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, okay, yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's it. So she's Marvel, she's Star Wars, and she's Disney.
She was in Street Fighter.
Oh, was she Chun-Li?
She was.
Man, I miss Raul Julia so much.
Anyway, for a great Darth Plagueis.
I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I would have. I honestly, I think Niles the Butler would be a good Darth Plagueis. Like while we're at it,
you're not wrong.
I'm interested to see if they will bring Aphra to the screen. It's strange to me that like Black Chrysantan to me is only a character who is interesting because of his association with Aphra. Like we wouldn't have learned anything about that character in the comic books, except for his involvement with Aphra. He is an independent character in his own right, but their careers are closely intertwined. And I was really disappointed we didn't even see a mention of her in Book of Boba Fett because she's alive and well at that time in the galactic history. So I wonder. I don't think they're going to give us a TV show about a gay Asian murderer weapons dealer. It doesn't seem very Disney to me. But she'd be a great supporting character in anything. I mean, one of the anthology shows would be awesome. They could do a lot with her, but I think it would be asking too much.
If anything, if they ever brought her in as a character, it would more than likely it would probably be in an animated aspect.
There's your Emily Zeller right there, perfect voice actor for it.
Right, and well, the other thing is they've got the like if they were to do another season of Tales of the Empire, where they explore that kind of interaction with Vader, I think that would make for a good story arc because they do 6 episodes and like half the episodes cover one particular character, half the episodes cover a different one. I think that would be a fun second season of Tales of the Empire.
Do you think you risk though with bringing in a character like that of a portion of the fan base being like, who the heck is this character? Where's the characters that we know? Who is this?
To an extent, I think our fandom is large enough that there's going to be a certain portion of us who are outraged at absolutely anything. So
this is true.
I would like to think that Lucasfilm is beyond trying to please the crowds because,
what's the old saying? No one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
That's true, and I'm sure you've seen the Groundskeeper Willie meme where he
Yeah.
says that Star Wars was ruined by Star Wars fans fighting against their ancient enemies, Star Wars fans.
Star Wars fans. Pretty much.
I do think an animated series would be good. I mean, she has carried a long-running, successful comic book series. Let me see, Doctor Aphra comic.
Well, comics started coming out something like 2019 or something like that.
Let me see. So we have Doctor Aphra #1 came out in 2020. There have been 40. No, these are individual comics. Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7. So it's not out yet, but there have been 7 trade paperbacks, starting with Fortune and Fate in January of 2021. The most recent is Dark Droids in April of 2024. And since April of 2024, there have been several. Oh, I didn't realize that. Is it when I stopped traveling for a living and spending half my life in Barnes and Nobles looking for new books to read on the airplane, I stopped tracking comic book releases. But actually, a little bit behind now. Terrible. So, at any rate, it is definitely, if people at home have not gathered, Aphra is absolutely my favorite character introduced in the new canon. She's, for me, it's Palpatine, and then probably Ventress and Kenobi, and no, I would say Aphra over Kenobi. So yeah, no, my #3 character in the entire saga. Just such a rich tapestry of destruction, and what she's good at makes her sad, but it also makes her money, and that makes her happy. And that dichotomy is just really interesting to see how they've approached it. Like she always, and I like, we see this a little bit in Dark Disciple with Asajj Ventress. We see it in Inquisitor with Rise of the Red Blade with the protagonist of that, where you have someone who is objectively a villain, but they're like almost getting out of it. You know, like Asajj Ventress in Dark Disciple was so close to finding a nice, happy life with Quinlan Voss, and like just setting down all the bounting and just like being a good person, being happy with herself, and just couldn't make it work. Same thing with Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade. Same thing with Aphra. Like she connects, not commonly, but when she does, she connects deeply, and it never works out. And it's just to watch her break her own heart again and again is a really, really fascinating storyline.
Yeah.
Go buy the books.
Make for a great character on screen, because, like, I mean, she's a captivating character as it is. I mean, she's one of the few new canon characters that has been given her own comic series pretty much from the moment she debuted.
Yeah.
And I can't say there's a lot of characters that have been introduced like that have had that kind of popularity with fans.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's all I got to say about that. I think I've talked to you guys ears off about Aphra, but again, folks at home, buy the books. Let me do a quick shout out.
And then we'll jump in after the commercial break to see how Brian really feels about Doctor Aphra.
I got to tell you, though, I met years ago at Star Wars Celebration 2019 in Chicago. I met two people, Elijah Cadrone, he listens to the podcast, Tina Yao, she listens to the podcast. Tina is an amazing cosplayer. I met them cosplaying Luke and Mara. They got married in costume as Luke and Mara. I was this close to officiating the wedding, but they got married during COVID, so they just did a small thing. But I was going to go up there as the Emperor and marry them. But Tina Yao, look her up on Facebook, amazing, the best Dr. Aphra cosplay I've ever seen. Between her Mara Jade, her Dr. Aphra, and her Tifa Lockhart, She's an amazing cosplayer and a lovely
Yeah,
cosplayer.
I just pulled up the cosplay that she's doing, and pretty impressive, Mara Jade. Not seeing any of the not seeing any of the Doctor Aphra, but yeah, pretty cool.
I'll have to send a picture of to the show there. Well, that's all I got, guys. I would hope that I have inspired somebody to pick up a book. If you don't read the Star Wars comics, you're really missing out, particularly the Vader title. And Doctor Aphra is a direct spin-off from Vader. The main title is really good too. Pretty much everything Marvel puts out in the Star Wars and the new canon has been really enjoyable. But Doctor Aphra, far and away, some of the best writing.
Yeah, I need to get caught back up on some of the Star Wars books because I think as far as like the regular series of just the Star Wars titles, I stopped at volume number 5, and I haven't been able to pick up since. And I think I've got like the first 2 or 3 of Vader, and then I have Vader Down, and then the Princess Leia book. So I need to get back into them.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, guys. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us because, I mean,
I think so.
I don't have anything else to add. What about you, Mark?
Okay. All right. Well, Brian, why don't you tell the people out there where they can find you at?
I would love to,
folks. We're going to talk about next week.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, sure.
That's right. We're talking Andor season 2.
Yeah, we're finally jumping on that.
I know. Better late than never, you know.
Even though we talked about it a little bit last week.
We did it kind of tying into our talk of the Rebel Alliance. But this time we're going to be talking
plot
review
points
of the show Andor, plot points, characters,
story arcs.
Yeah,
the nitpicking.
I will be playing the role of the layperson who has not seen the show yet, in that I have not seen the show yet. It's not directly up my alley. I'm very interested in seeing it, but we turned off Disney Plus in protest of some of Disney's commercial decisions, and I haven't found it on Plex yet. So we'll have to check that out. But I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about it.
All right. Well, now that that's said, Brian, where can we find you?
You can join me on the Sith Library and Archives on Facebook. That would be Sith Library ampersand Archives. We are a 51,000 strong community of Sith Empire, First Order, Dathomir, Darkside fans and devotees. I post as Darth Corrosis. We have regularly scheduled content. We post art. We post philosophy. We even post jokes. So we'd love to have you out there. Come see us on the Sith Library and Archives on Facebook.
All right. What about you, Mr. Garrett?
Well, you guys can find me on Instagram and X at GKJ_publishing, where I talk about my books. I talk about my show, The Right Way, which is on YouTube. Just search for GKJ Publishing on YouTube. On that show, we do book recommendations, author interviews, and creative writing tips. I just had a new episode come out this last Saturday. Great new content. And then I have a new live stream coming up this Saturday where I will be doing a writing workshop focused on writing science fiction.
Awesome. All right. As for us right here at War of the Stars, you can get a hold of us through our email. That is warofthestars1@gmail.com. Our handle on all other social media is at warofthestars77. If you want to support the show, Ko-fi.com/War of the Stars, or through our Spreadshirt shop, Spreadshirt.com/ whatever it is. I can't remember. There it is. Spreadshirt.com/shop/war-of-the-stars. Still working on the new shop over at Teespring. That should be going hopefully in the next couple of weeks, dealing with the different things. I've been in the hospital last week, so didn't really have a chance to really look at that, but hopefully that will be getting up and running here in the next week or two. As Garrett mentioned, we are, of course, a proud member of Feast of Fandoms. Check out all the shows of Feast of Fandoms. And you might see one of us show up every once in a while. Who knows? That will do it for this week. Check us out next week again as we talk Andor, as we mentioned before. And as always, remember, this is not just my Star Wars. This is not just your Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. Until next time, may the Force be with you.